everyone. Thanks for joining this session. My name is Ashish, your host today, and joined by me, my co-host Prem Keswani. We both are co-founders of Indo-Japan Pulse, which is an information hub for Indians in Japan as well as Indians who are interested in Japan. Now, many things we find are available in Japan these days, but not everything. Example, certain books for students, sports equipment like cricket kit, music instrument like tabla, or even festival clothes. And we have now Direct Bharat Se as a well-established service co-founded by Prem Keswani. Also, apart from this, he has a main job at EY, and about me, and let me explain one problem that you might be seeing, or you know that institutions like colleges or universities or schools are focused on completing their curriculum mostly. However, as you will acknowledge, industries are at accelerated speed, creating large gap for students to be industry ready. And we realize that someone need to bridge this gap. So who can be better than counselors or mentor? That thought came to my mind, and together with my IITN nephew, we created something called Counsel Navi as the global platform for solving this problem by connecting students and professional counselors. So, if we, sorry, Hemant sir, maybe we should have moved to the next slide. I didn't realize that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So as I just introduced myself and Prem, and I have given the background. And today's presenter is Mr. Hemant Bapat. He is a senior mentor and counselor. And today's purpose for this session is to raise awareness, mainly about the mentoring and counseling. There are a couple of topics we will follow today. We will start with why counseling and how it matters. That's the most important aspect. Then we will move on to the aspect of what if there is no counseling. Like, we don't think about in that way, or we don't think like without counseling what could be the direction or how things work. So that part will be covered by Mr. Hemant today. And after that, he will also explain us what are the positive impact in the sense of enhancing academic career choices, and most important is about bringing the clarity. And we also requested him to share some real life stories in the sense of case studies. So he will be sharing that. I think this all will get covered in 30 to 40 minutes from now. And post that, for 15 to 20 minutes, we will have Q&A session. So this is what today's session is, and let's move to the next slide. I would like to introduce Mr. Hemant Bhatt, who is a senior mentor counselor. He is an engineer with corporate experience of over 30 years across manufacturing, EPC, and IT. He's a certified career coach and student mentor counselor. So maybe let's hear from him directly. I'll not go too detail. I'll let him explain and introduce himself. So to you, sir.
Ashish, Hemant, there are few people who are waiting. Just before the introduction, maybe we can get them in also.
Yeah, I'll keep adding now.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay,
Over
so
to you.
thank you, Prem. Ashish and Prem, very good afternoon, and everyone on the call, very good afternoon. Just before the call, Ashish was telling me that it's a beautiful weather outside, little sunny, especially in the winter. And in spite of that weather, you all are joining this session. So I really want to thank you. That shows the interest about the career for our kids. And I will try and make this more interactive and encouraging. Feel free to reserve your questions till the end. If you have a pressing questions on the context of the topic, please raise your hand and ask that question. So with that, my name is Hemant Bapat. As Ashish said, I'm in India, Pune, and I have worked in corporate for around 30 plus years in different industries and different domains. I started with manufacturing, moved into EPC, and then moved into information technology. And 5 years back, I took early retirement to pursue a career coaching for working professionals and student mentoring or counseling by passion. Right. So I've traveled through the journey of different domains and industries, and I've seen how it works. I thought, why not utilize this experience for the benefit of people who struggle? So that's the reason I'm here. And I want to thank Ashish and Prem and Council Navy for giving me this opportunity. And of course, Pulse. So the question is, as parents, how do we choose career for our kids? And I would encourage if you can either unmute your microphone or use the chat box to share your point of view so that I know what's going through your mind. Right. So how do you choose your career typically for your kids? Anyone? Yes, can you hear me? Because it will be good if you give me response, then I know what's going through my mind.
Yeah,
Yes, please
you're
tell me.
audible. You're audible, Hemant. And I request all the viewers to make use of the chat box, as Hemant said, or you can raise your hand and comment. So make this interactive session. Okay, we hear one answer, kids' interest
Very
coming
good.
in the chat box.
Thanks, Preeti. Anyone else? Okay, future industry. Very good.
Reasonable.
Yeah. Anything else? Choosing what they want and encouraging them to do that. Excellent. Okay. Anything more?
Hi, this is Puneet.
Hey, Puneet.
I think mostly it's around what parents want, and that gets enforced on the kids. And most of the cases, it's that way. People try to be very open-minded, but I think eventually uh, the parents push actually what they want from the kid, irrespective of the kid's interest. But yeah, I think eventually where the kid lands up is a kind of a tussle between the kid's interest and the parents' push. But yeah, I think at this stage, in the early stage, I think it's more from the parents' side on their basically their perspective of the future for their kid.
Yeah. Thanks, Puneet, for making it so clear what goes through parents' mind in different stages, right? And then you're actually talking both the sides, the influence side
Yeah.
that parents make and the confusion side that gets created in kids' mind. I think two more hands I could see being raised.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
we
could
have
see one hands up here. Mansi, I guess.
Yeah. So my perspective is, yeah, kids' interest is more important, but more than interest, whether it is hobby or they are actually good at it, that parents should check and then encourage them to do it.
very valid point.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. And GKR says rather try to find where kids' aptitude is. Right. So we are talking about multiple aspects, and I'm sure each parent is looking at one or two aspects and then try and take the decision. Right. And that's where the whole challenge starts coming in. Is the decision taken by influence or are we in a state of confusion? And that's true for everywhere, right? Whether you talk about India, Japan, United States, UK, Canada, Australia, or Gulf, the challenge is similar everywhere. The degree would go up and down. Because as part of career counseling or mentoring, I keep talking to students across, and I have seen a trend across, right? In Western countries, there is more awareness during the school days. So the confusion part is little less, but the influence is still very high. In India, it is actually the balance. Confusion and influence goes hand in hand. And what has been traditionally done is, as we all grew up, I'm sure you can correlate to your childhood when we were taking decisions for our career. We did not have a guide or somebody to tell us. It was a clear model, which I call it as a waterfall model. Very simple steps: science, commerce or art and humanity. You either become an engineer, medical, or get into pure science research. If you are inclined to commerce, right? It could be finance, economics, law, business management, and art or humanity get into design, literature, geography, humanity, political science. Those kind of things was very straightforward, right? And those are the traditional choices people have been making. And I'm sure you can correlate to it. Now, this is where the challenge actually starts. And you have already spoken about it, some of the parameters. How do we really make a decision? So I call it as a sandwich situation, right? At the top and bottom, there is an influence and there is a confusion. And in between, we get sandwiched like parents and kids together. Okay. So one side is pressing us to take traditional approach. Somebody says, "Oh, go for science. This is very good. You'll get a lot of money. IT is booming." Right? That's the traditional approach. You go straight vanilla thinking. Some parents says, "Oh, I have my kids scoring very good in a particular subject, or average marks are extremely good. CGPA is good, or percentile is good. So with that, I think the person should go for science." Some people, some parents and kids say, "Oh, my kid is interested in so and so hobby. I think they should go for this way." Some people have subjects of interest that drive the career. There are some family dictates, especially when parents are doctors, they expect their kids to be doctors. When parents are engineers, they expect kids to be engineers. When parents are lawyer or chartered accountant. So it's a family business that probably runs through, or in some cases I have seen parents run their own family business and kids are not interested in that kind of a business. They want to do something different. But family says, "We are running this business. Why are you looking outside?" So there is a family. It could be either one or it could be a combination of these two. If I move to the left side on why there is a confusion or why there is an influence, right? So one aspect could be availability of core information. If you go 20 years back, there was lack of information because of which there was a struggle in techniques. Today, there is abundant information. Huge. You just Google it and you find enormous information. And with Chat GPT, I think it is making more and more accessible, right? So a lot of information is also creating challenges. There is also a peer pressure. "Oh, my friends are going for engineering and I want to join with them." This is one of the common factors I've seen with kids. And that's where the tussle starts. Sometimes lack of awareness about the new technologies. So I'll give you an example. I was doing mentoring and counseling for a student, and that student had a typical challenge. The mother was a doctor and father was an engineer. And both had a choice. Father was thinking that son should be an engineer. Mother was saying, no, he should be a doctor. Both had a choice. Now, luckily, child had biology and mathematics really good among both the subjects, scores well, really good knowledge, really good skills, good command. Now there is a tussle. So they came for counseling and say, "Hemant, we have a challenge. He likes both biology and mathematics, and mother thinks should be a doctor, father thinks should be an engineer. What should we do?" Right? So we went through a process, and I'll explain the process in a few minutes from now. We went through a process, we analyzed the person, and then we had a lot of interactive discussion. And we came out with a career that's the mix of both, which is biomedical engineering. So it's a branch of engineering, but has a medical concept built into it. And that was a very good blend. Both kid, parents were convinced and happy that I think this is a good choice. So why I'm sharing this is when there is a lack of awareness of new careers, this kind of strategy, process-oriented approach helps us to look at the things which we traditionally don't. Then there is a pseudo competition, right? My peers are doing it, my friends are doing it, or my relatives are doing it. I also want to step up. And the kids may not be ready. So that's the sandwich situation we all are into. I just want to take a quick pause and check all the parents on this call if you align with these kind of situation for yourself or friends around you. If yes, you may want to say yes or give thumbs up on the chat box. Great. Yes, Preeti, you have a question, you have raised hand. Question or comment?
No, sir. No, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this thumbs up shows me that most of the people are aligned, right? And I think we are attacking the right issue for today's awareness session. Now, the challenge that we all spoke about. Yeah, thanks, Prabhakar. The challenge that we spoke about, right? What could be the possible impact? Let's say we go through this struggle and take some decision to go ahead with it, right? And there is obviously not a thought over career choice. So what are the challenges or impact that we can see? So first and foremost challenge could be the career choice mismatch itself. There is no surety that decision that we are taking is the right decision for it. It is based on hunch, based on feelings, based on influence that we take the decision. What could be the more detailed impacts as we go through? First could be struggle during education. This I have seen in multiple cases, where the child enters science because the decision is taken to be an engineer and struggle with mathematics because it is at a higher level in 12th, whether you talk about IB, A levels or 12. When the person passes that, goes to engineering, struggles in first, second or third year of engineering because it's not appealing to that person, either by way of interest or by way of abilities. So struggle during education. Second, because the kid is not doing well, a lot of emotional challenges that go through. And I've seen many kids coming to me second or third year of education with emotional trauma. They say, Hemant, we have already invested money, but he is not going through what to do. So that's the second challenge. Third is expectation mismatch. Because kid has something else in mind and he or she is not able to see the things on the ground. Fourth is late realization of mismatch. That's the bigger challenge. They don't realize that we have taken the wrong decision. Fifth is, now let's say the person has completed the graduation, which is a good part, but then is not enjoying. And that's where the delayed career starts. The trial and error phase in the career is very, very high. Okay, so day before yesterday only, I had a call with a dentist. His entire family is into medical and he is also into medical. So he did dentistry, spent 3 years of self-practice. He's running a clinic in Vileparle, Mumbai. Okay. And yesterday we had a first session. He said, I'm a dentist because my family is into that business. But now I'm not enjoying that because of competition. And I have felt that I'm doing the same thing every day, whereas I have a creative mind. Can you help me? What should I do different? Right? That's the delayed career start, because now if he's thinking about changing at the age of 35, he has to restart his career. Right? And that's possible. But imagine if he had thought this 12, 13 years back when he was in 10th or 11th, his life could have been little better than this. So that's the delayed career start. Growth challenges, because you're not able to match with the speed. There is no interest. There is an ability gap. And that's where the challenge with the growth. Of course, low satisfaction level because you're not enjoying the job. And many more, I'm sure you can list it. That these are some of the challenges that I thought we'll just talk about. Now, so how do we really get rid of these challenges? Can we totally get rid of these challenges? I don't think so. Anybody can promise 100%. Right? But can we reduce the extent to say 85%, 90%, 95%? The answer is yes. And how do we change that? Okay, so how do we change that? The simple approach is take an informed decision. And the informed decision could be in twofold. One is, if you have somebody who's an expert within your own family, friend, talk to that person who can give you an informed decision. And if you don't have, go to a professional who is trained to think from a different perspective. And that is where we call it as a career mentor or career counselor. Okay. I just want to give you a perspective here. Some people use career mentor, some people use career counselor. These two terms are used interchangeably. Okay, they do the similar thing. There is a subtle difference between these two. A career counselor goes into details of analyzing the person, looking at interest patterns, and then helping the person to choose the career. And career mentor will, from his or her experience, give a guided path what next for the student. And that is why when I say I talk about a combination of career mentor and counselor, because they will analyze a person and then suggest the career path based on their experience in terms of what lies in the market, what's the future ahead, and all that. So it's a combination. And how does it happen? So there is a structured approach that is aligned to the personality and interest. And we spoke about it during the initial introduction, where parent, you spoke about it, that we will take a decision based on liking, interest, the personality, what a kid wants to do. And that's exactly we will do. And I will explain the process in a bit. But so the whole thing is a structured process that we follow and not a random or haphazard decision. Okay. And so how does exactly it happen? We first go through a career analysis test. We call it as a psychometric assessment or a personality test. There are different names in the market, but necessarily there is a personality analysis done in which we get to understand students' personality traits and interest profile. These are the two main parameters, traits and strengths and interest profile. What's the benefit of getting into the details? So the personality strength and traits will allow us to analyze how the person is thinking. What are the natural preferences this person has? Say, take an example. If I find a student to be introvert, focused, detail-oriented, with creative approach, right? I know that this person naturally is inclined to these kind of areas. So anything which has an extrovert kind of career job, mass communication, journalism, those kind of jobs will not suit this kid. So that's the first aspect. So when you say introvert, creative aspect, detailed oriented, maybe this person is good for creative, detail oriented, research oriented kind of jobs. That's the aspect of personality that is. The second aspect that we get into is the interest part of it. Now let's differentiate. Hobbies and interest can be two different terms. Hobbies is on a lighter mood, which makes us happy. Interest is more focused and structured, where you want to do something seriously around. Say, for example, my hobby is to play badminton, but my interest is into cricket, which means I don't mind doing my career into cricket, but not into badminton. That's how we differentiate. So this is about sports. So interest could be creative artist, interest could be analysis, interest could be numerical, interest could be speaking, communication. Right? There are different types of interest that we do. So this is the second parameter which tells us how this person is more aligned to in terms of the liking. So let's take an example of introvert, creative mindset, and interest could be artistic, thinking, and let's say research oriented. Now, if we put these two things together, a person could get into serious artistic research kind of. It could be if there is a language orientation, literature could be a good linguistic expert could be good area. If somebody is adding investigation to that part with artistic, it could be archaeology. If it is just introvert and pure artist, it could be a painter, designer, graphic artist, media artist. Now let's say if the student is extrovert, and along with that, artist and analysis part is coming out. Then artist creativity could lead to say branding, brand management, and extrovert will take into marketing. So marketing, brand management, brand campaigning could be the career for that. Right? So this is how a career counselor or a mentor will help you to analyze the personality and interests to suggest you the appropriate career choices that will help your kid to go for. Once that is done, then what is typically done is there is a clear, detailed discussion between parents, mentor, and student to review each career option that is suggested and choose the best option, one or two best option. Once that is done, then decide the suitable career path, okay, education path, and all. So what's the benefit in the whole process is we eliminate the pseudo influence, because in each stage, parent and student gets an opportunity to reflect on the personality, on the interest parameters, on the career that they would take possibly, and how would their life look. So they isolate or they eliminate all the parameters that we saw in the earlier slide. They validate if traditional approach is required or futuristic approach. They validate the percentage of the score that they are getting with the choices that they are. They validate if hobby is the driver or is there anything else. They validate the career that I'm choosing. Is my subjects of interest supporting that or not? Or do I need to scale up? They also validate if my family dictate is driving or I'm making a conscious decision. It is possible that an entire family is doctor family and the kid is also going for medicine, but then it is an informed decision and not a family dictate. Family dictate gets converted into informed. They get rid of pseudo competition. They have a lot of awareness now because they know themselves well and they also visualize the market. Peer pressure is taken care because of the self-decision making power. And they filter out the necessary information for them from the available information overflow that. So this is how the process works for career counseling. Very informed decision, backed up by scientific analysis, interactive discussion between parents and student to go for a structured, informed decision. That leads moving from confusion to clarity. Okay, so, and then most important, these career counselors are also equipped with a lot of combination of next-gen career options. I gave one example about biomedical. That was the best of both. So similarly, all the career counselors will be having information about what could be the possible area. Okay, so that's the benefit of the thing. So I'll get into a case study, but before that, I want to take a pause and check if anyone has questions. So far.
Hemant, there was one query.
Yes.
Just a second, I'll just bring that up.
Okay.
It was from Mr. Prabhakar. Can kids average in math choose and excel in an engineering career? How much academic excellence in a subject determines their future growth in a career? If you want to take it now, or we can take it
Sure,
after
we
the
can. Very
explanation.
Very appropriate. Thank you for that. So Mr. Prabhakar, very valid question. I am glad you asked it because I'm sure every parent would have this. So let's look at two perspectives. We said the career decision is typically based on a personality, which is skills, ability, strengths, and the interest factors. Let's take an example. When you say a student is average in mathematics, how do we measure that average? It's typically by the marks that student is scoring, academic marks, absolutely. Now, how certain we are that that score that the student is getting in academics is the real reflection. And I will validate what I'm saying. I have seen students up to class 10 scores depends on two things. One is how good the teacher is. If the subject teacher is really good, that person likes the subject and scores well. And second, how good the student is to focus in that subject for that period. So their ability to learn that subject with focus. These two parameters are very important. So while the scores are indicative, those are not just the parameters. So what else? When we do the personality analysis and interest profiling, we get to understand the inherent ability of that person which lies within. So for example, I have seen students who have been scoring average in mathematics up to class 8 or 9. We did the personality analysis and interest profiling, and both showed that this person is really good in analytics, really good in computation, and also has an interest. Then as a counselor or mentor, I did some deep dive talking to the student, and the student told me, Hemant sir, the teacher is not good. He is boring. Whatever we do, we are not interested in the school. So then I gave him couple of sample tests and he solved everything very well. Then I spoke to parent and I said, why don't you try a tuition class for a month or two just to see if the different teacher makes a difference. Right? Let's not go only by dictation or school because you can't change school teacher or school at this point. So they tried a coaching for a couple of months and to their surprise, his score improved drastically. Right? So he had an ability, interest, but the grooming was not up to the expected. So, and then the rest part is career choices and all. So that's one example is don't go blindly by the marks. Marks are just indicative, but Prabhakar sir, if you deep dive and find out what is actually causing the marks, then you will get an answer. And this is true for both. Some students might be getting really A++ grades, let's say 97 percentile, but may not be really interested to do career in that. We need to find out that part also. So it's not only good or bad marks, it's actually going behind or going deep to find out why this kid is scoring so much. I think that analysis will help you as parents to realize, even if you don't go to career counselor or a mentor, and if you want to do your own analysis, you should deep dive and find out why this person is scoring this much. It's good to know as a parent because that will give you a lot of clarity. Lot of it. So Prabhakar sir, does this help? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Any other
Hemant.
questions?
Yeah,
Any other
yeah,
question?
Hemant. There are a couple of more questions. I'll take the latest one from Somdatta Banerjee. At which age or standard one should go for career counseling? I think it's one of the important question and all parents should be aware.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that so that we can cover. So there is no specific age as such because career counseling, career mentoring can be done at any stage of life. The impact and the benefit will vary. So when I do student career counseling and mentoring, I also do career coaching for working professionals, right from early career, mid career till late career where they are getting into second years. So people come to me even in mid career for career counseling because they are not happy with what they are doing. Okay. But for student, if you ask that question, I would recommend doing this career counseling or mentoring typically in 9th standard would be helpful. And I'll explain why. What's the logic of 9? Somebody will say, why 9? Why not 11? Why not 7? So the logic is very simple. Logic is, yeah, Prabhakar sir, I'll come to your question in a minute. So logical question is twofold. One is, when we do personality analysis and interest profiling, we are expecting a certain maturity level of students because they are going to give us psychometric assessment test or aptitude test, and we expect a certain maturity so that the results are more accurate. Okay. Statistically, it is proven that a person who is beyond 13 years age, which is typically 9, that's the age where the accuracy starts increasing. Okay, and I would recommend to do this anywhere between 9th standard mid towards end of 9th standard. Some people can do it early 9th, nothing wrong, but typically 9th standard. Why not 10th or 11th? You can do, there is no stop. But what happens is, once you do career counseling and mentoring, you probably narrow down 1 or 2 or 3 career probable options or path that kid would take. And their mind starts getting oriented towards those career paths, and their focus, their dedication to the subjects and the learning starts improving, and that's where they start focusing in 10th, because 10th standard today is an important aspect, which is a turning, because that's where you decide what do you take, science, commerce, or arts in 11th and 12th, or A grades or AS grade, depending on the exam. Right? So that's where 9th is the period, because you're not rushed against marks, scoring. So I would recommend 9th. Let's say somebody has already crossed 9th and somebody is 10th, nothing wrong. Let's say some people come to me 11th or 12th standard saying that we didn't know this. Now can we do it? Yes, of course you can do it. The choices will be comparatively limited, because let's say somebody has already taken commerce in 11th and 12th, and if that person wants to do engineering, science is not there. How do you go for engineering? Right? Either you have to restart 11th with science, or you have to have a bridge course which allows you to get into information technology with pure mathematics, like analytics, database management, those kind of things. So there is a limitation and benefit depending on when you go. I hope this answers the question.
Thank you, Hemant. Maybe Somdatta can confirm on that. Hemant, I just have a query here. We are seeing a couple of more comments or queries. Should we take it now or should we take it after that?
So we can take it
What would
now,
you?
because I have to just
We can.
cover a case study, and the case
Perfect.
study I've already covered.
Perfect. So let me bring that question. Sorry, there is a disturbance from someone. Okay, thank you. Okay, so there is a question from Renuka V. How does the job market, like AI revolution, affect the decision making on behalf of kid at the pivotal stage?
Okay, so if I've understood, the question is, when we decide a career, how do we look at the job market opportunities, changing technology, evolution, and growth? So I will take in that spirit. So when we do the analysis and career choices, we look at two things. We look at the personality, interest, and then decide the career choices that suits the kid or student. At the same time, the counselor and mentor also will look into the future and say, hey, out of the 6 choices that we're talking about, the 2 choices are likely to die in next 10 years, or likely to change drastically in next 10 years. I would recommend you to go for initial 4. That's what a counselor or mentor would say, because counselor and mentor would look ahead to see what's happening in the market. They have that knowledge and they keep updating themselves in terms of what's happening in the market. So they will help you with the market trends that's going to happen in future. And accordingly, you make a decision. Having said that, and this is the fact today, that 25 years back, the situation was, if I start my career with a particular role or industry or domain, I can safely grow in that career and retire from that organization or from that career place. But now the situation is so different because of rapid changing technology, the world economics, and the environment. The career choice that we'll make probably will change every 5 to 10 years. And that's the fact of it. Because things are beyond any individual's control. So when we make these kind of choices, we have to be vigilant, and that's where I think the counselor and mentor will help you is if there is a technology change, how do you navigate to the next possible career option? Right? I think this is another way to look at in terms of future market trends when we decide. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Hemant. Very clear answer on that. And just okay, we have a more question here from Mandar Naik. We did psychometrist test from renowned organization.
Okay. Okay. So Mandar, this is a very specific question.
Yeah.
I can read it. So very specific question where Mandar is saying we did psychometric test from a renowned
Yeah.
organization. We did
Yeah.
career counseling, and she was when she was in 11th, her inclination from test showed she had interest in physics, but she is hardly interested in physics. So there could be two reasons, and I don't know the specific details about this, Mandar, so I can't comment exactly. But I can give you an answer what could happen in situations, right? And what I would suggest, if you still want to go deeper, because I know we have time limitation, if you still want to go deeper, towards end, you have my contact details. Feel free to connect with me, and we can take it one-on-one. I'll be happy to assist you in more details. But in this situation, what could happen is it all depends on in what state the psychometric is given. Was there a proper briefing before the psychometric? And third is, was the interpretation done correctly? So these are generic things that I see across. And that's where when we go for any psychometric, we do a briefing how a psychometric needs to be done first. So for those who are not experts, psychometric assessment is the test where there's a series of objective multi-choice questions given to a kid. It will be situation-based, personality-based, interest-based, and logic-based, as well as mathematics or calculation. And there will be multi-choice, and kids will be asked to read the question and respond. And based on the answers given by the kid, the analysis is done. There is an AI engine that works in the background. And all the tests are based on proven psychological theories. So there is a test data which is backed up to do the psychometric analysis using all the psychological and statistical models. Those are proven. So we can't go back and doubt the test. It's probably the way questions are, the way answers are given one. But second could be the interpretation itself. These two could make a difference. And Mandar, coming to that point is normally the personality would not change beyond age of 13 or 14 or 18. There could be a variation of 5 to 10% after 18. But interest could change because those are natural. And that is why when we take a decision, it is a combination of personality and interest. And that's why we call it as an informed decision and not an influence. So, so the question you ask is, let's say if it is a physics and biology, it is quite possible that Mandar, when the 9th standard decision was taken, probably the student had physics and biology, both combinations in parallel. Maybe it was not evaluated. I'm not sure. So I don't want to comment directly. We can talk. Yeah, we can talk offline. Absolutely, more than happy. Just bring back.
Great, Hemant. Thank you very much, and thank you for bringing up such a meaningful, deep, and real questions. Also, just one comment I want to take. It's not in the form of a question, but again, it's very relevant to what was just asked by Mandar. Also, it's a comment by Radhakrishnan Sarvanan. He commented like kids' interests keep changing, right? And then how do we kind of acknowledge this, and how do we kind of go ahead with this thought also?
Very, very important, very valid. point. This is a concern every parent will have. And so we have to look into aspects. When we say interesting change, what is really happening in them? Is it changing just as a hobby? Or is it a serious interest with it change? And how is it linked to the personality? Third, what is the reason for changing the interest? Is it influence? Is it peer influence? What is actually happening? Right? So I have not seen students changing the interest 100%. There could be interest change of 15 to 20%. Say, for example, let's say in 9th standard, we do the interest analysis and we see that first level is analysis and computation. Second level is logical thinking. And third level is creativity or artistry. When the kid goes to 11th, 12th or graduation, it is possible that artistic or creativity may come to the second and logical will go to the third, or vice versa. That kind of combination could happen. But I have not seen cases where the last interest would come to the top, because that is not a natural inclination. Interest won't change so fast. It might change over a period of 25 years, but not in a span of 4 to 5 years. So either there is a pseudo interest change where the kid is getting influenced by peers or teachers, and we should go deep dive to find out. That's one. And second thing is, let's say if there is an interest change, seriously there is an interest change. Something has really happened and there is an interest change. We have to look pragmatically. Now the interest has changed. Whatever career options we have in mind, we go back to the 9th standard and say, hey, what was the evaluation that time? Can I make use of that evaluation and see if we can reapply today and do the necessary course correction? And that's possible. So typically, the great example that we see today is the trend where a person enrolls into IIT, becomes an engineer, realizes that the market is saturated, the interest has not changed, personality has not changed, but the requirements and needs have changed. They need more money. So they said, I need more money, and the fastest way to make money is finance. So after completing IIT engineering, they enter into IIM doing MBA finance. There is a total change, but they take informed decision at that point in time. Their needs have changed, and they have done the course correction. So I think going back and looking into the basics and doing the course correction is the answer to interest change. But that time also it should be informed.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Hemant. That was a very clear answer and good guiding principles to apply on that one. Great. I think whatever questions we had in the chat box, we have covered till now. If we have new questions, maybe we'll come back to the chat box.
Sure.
Before we move back, any question someone wants to make verbally, just a few seconds if I can check. If not, we can continue with the case study.
Sure.
Okay,
So Prem, can I just
looks fine.
So Prem, one is if you are not able to cover some, because this is a different perspective that we are talking today for some parents. And it is very much possible that they will have a lot of after questions after the session is over. So they can write it to you, Prem, or Ashish, or they can send it to me, and we will be happy to respond.
Perfect. Everyone who is joining today is part of the WhatsApp group we have. They can definitely raise questions there and we can take it further if you want to raise it after the session also. Okay. Sorry. Oh, back to you, Hemant. Then we can go to. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so this is a quick case study I want to, and I'm doing a quick time check, Ashish and Prem. We have another 7 minutes to go. I know we started 8 minutes late. So should we wrap up or should we overspill? What do we do?
Maybe if we have all parents and participants interested to continue a little bit, and if you also have time, maybe we can just keep for a few more minutes, because I think looking at the questions, I think the topic is important and there are a lot of questions and interest coming into it. So it's good to answer as much as possible. So let's continue.
Sure. Prabhakar gave thumbs up saying that we should continue. Take it full. Okay, great. Thank you. So this is the case study that we took. The background is the kid is from a well-learned family with successful engineers working in corporate and staying outside India, not in India, right? And there was a confusion in terms of what to do. The father said, I see that the kid is very good in sports, should do career in sports. And mother was saying, no, good in engineering. There's a stable career outside there, right? And what do we do? So on the ground, they felt that the child is struggling with mathematics. And at the same time, not very confident with sports. The kid used to like the sports, but not sure about doing a career in sports. So this was a clear confusion state, not an influence state. Right? What do we do? So how did we pursue this case? So the first thing what we did is we had a discussion, detailed discussion with parents and kid and found out exactly what's happening on the ground. So that's why we call it as a reality or a connection. And in cases, most of the cases, the career counselor or a mentor would talk to parents and students together. And if there is a need, would talk to them separately. My experience in some cases is during actual the sessions, students talk more and parents say, oh, I never knew that he had or she had this in mind. They open up because they look at a different perspective and they look at a thing that, oh, there is somebody who wants to listen to me and help me what I should do than telling me what to do. Right? I think that aspect comes up very clearly that there is somebody who does not have a judgment about me as a student, who does not have a self-interest, but is trying to help me to shape up my career without telling me what. I think that aspect makes a big time. So the initial connect helps to get the ground check or ground reality to find out what's really happening here. Is there a conflict? Is there an influence? Is there a confusion? What is the reality? And that is where we deep dive in terms of marks, in terms of the interest. So that's the first stage to get. So career counselor or mentor gets a ground reality. And then we get into a psychometric assessment to find out what's the child's strengths, traits, and interest parameters, interest profiling, and career evaluations. And then we get into a detailed discussion. So typically career mentor or counselor will go to number of sessions depending on the kind of involvement parents want. Some might say just one session, some might say 3 sessions, some might say 6 sessions. It all depends on the package or the outcome that parents are expecting. Okay. So, but this is necessary. There is an analysis discussion phase to find out how the person is, what are the inclinations, what are the possible career options, and what are the next steps. Okay. Once the choices are narrowed down, there is something called as career visualization exercise in which the career counselor or mentor will help child to think through how his career looks like in future. It's not a graphical visualization. It is by way of words or discussion. But necessarily child will try and understand how his or her life and career will look like if they take a career. So for example, if a child wants to become information technology scientist or engineer, how would typically life look like? Work hours, working environment, work-life balance. Those are the top typical things. Money. That's where the discussion is. If child says, no, I want to become a journalist or a media reporter, mass communication, how will typically the life look like? The work-life balance, the money part, reflection on the personality, the skills that person needs to upgrade, all those things will be discussed so that parents and kids get a clarity of how the situation will look alike if they go for it. They are more prepared. Okay. Yeah, Prabhakar, absolutely. This is a real life story. Thank you. So what's the outcome? We move from confusion to clarity. So the child and parents both understand why are they choosing the career path that they are choosing. Right? A very informed decision in terms of child's capability, personality, and interest profile. Second, parents also get to reflect and they discover more normally than they know. Third, they make an action plan as a roadmap to move forward in terms of what lies ahead. And this is a very important step in any career counseling or mentoring. This is where education, the kind of degree post graduations we decide, the kind of subjects that we choose in 11th and 12th if you are doing in 9th standard, the kind of industries that we can apply, the kind of roles that we can get, the kind of skills that we need to upgrade in addition to just the education or the subjects. So for example, is somebody choosing mass communication and that person is not very strong in public speaking. Maybe the skill development can be identified as public speaking training. All those things can be done as part of this roadmap or action plan. And once the child is so informed, just visualize and imagine that you have a crystal clarity and child is very clear why he or she is doing that career. Will he or she not empowered in every action they take in school, college, or with their friends and relatives? Very empowered decision making. So they're so confident, right? And this entire process was done over a video chat. So that some people feel that, oh, I need to be in proximity in person, that it helps. 2 to a 5% extent. But post-COVID, I think the entire world has changed its perspective. And video chat quality also has improved drastically. The technology has changed after COVID. So video chat is equally beneficial in this case. Right? So quick summary. Number of sessions depending on what you want to achieve. Connect, chemistry meet, psychometric assessment to know fundamentals, iterative discussions, analysis to find a career choice, decide the career choices, make an action plan, create habit building plan to ensure that you walk the path, and industry awareness. Here itself, there are some parents who say, I want an industry exposure. And that is where career mentor or counselor can help you with suggesting YouTube videos or courses that will give you exposure, or you can go for internships. Those are equally beneficial where you get 1 or 2 or 3 months of real-time industry experience before you actually start a job. Right? So these are some of the things where parents and kids get exposed during this kind of sessions. So this is one of the case studies. Second case study is from India, and this is for Avnish, who was a class 9 student. And I'm looking this case study from a different perspective. Let's say this, and this is the real case study. These are the words from parents and kids. So these are verbatim. I asked them, you got all the benefits. Tell me if you had not gone for counseling, what would happen? And then they say the career decision making would have been very challenging. We would have taken an approach blindly without understanding market trends and potential. It could have been strained relation between us and Avnish because we would have pushed him to do something and he would have resisted. Could have overlooked the opportunities which are better aligned to him, right? And likely low confidence because there is no clarity. Then I asked them, okay, so you have gone through, what are the benefits? This is the personality assessment gave more clarity about strength and interest. And that was not only helpful during just career, but it helped them to look at Avnish in a different perspective during the life itself. When they said, let's go for a movie, and Avnish said, I don't want to go for a movie, let's go for shopping, they would know why Avnish was saying that, because his interest in those kind of parameters were very low. Or when they say, let's go for shopping, they said, no, let's go for adventure sport, they would exactly know why Avnish is saying adventure, because his interest parameters showed risk management and how adventure is very high. So they said it's not only the career, but it helped us to realize and understand the life better. The sessions help them to make a choice, informed choice, very clear, make action plan. And this was more in terms of the next gen career options. That this person was interested to go for engineering, but what kind of engineering? Is it robotics, IT, AI? That helped them to open the gates quite early. And most important is enablement, because the kids' confidence went multifold. So these are the two case studies look from a different perspective. I thought I'll just share. These are real-time examples. And I'll just take a pause to check if there are any more questions or any comments people have to share.
Till we have some questions and comments, Hemant, I'm curious what Avnish actually chose.
Okay, so he is into right now. So we did it in 9th standard. He is into
Okay.
IT now. His career alliance was between IT, computer science, and mechanical. Right.
Okay.
With the changing trend, now he is into IT second year, and post graduation he will be mostly getting into AI and robotics combined. So robotics, soft robots maybe.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. Okay. If any comments you want to put it in the chat, or if you want to make some comment or give us some feedback, you can raise your hand and also speak up.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Looks
guess
like I think we have covered a lot of questions beforehand.
yeah.
So
So I'll just
we can
take a
understand
summary,
that.
friends, since there are no
Sure.
more questions. A quick summary of what we have already spoken. Why career mentoring or counseling early? It gives you a career clarity, crystal clarity. Evaluate next gen careers, career and education planning, because it helps you. Many people come to me at 9th and 10th standard, say, Hemant, we want to choose subject. And especially when it comes to international boards, IBs, the choice of subjects is very limited, either 3 or 4 in A levels. And that's where the tussle is very high, right? When you have a CBSE with 7 subjects, you have a wider choice. But in A levels, you have only 3 or 4 optional subjects. That's where the tussle is. So a career and education planning is equal important. I've seen a lot of improvement in academic performance. The kids who were not performing earlier, with a clarity in mind, once they know I have to crack this, they have spent their energy to achieve what they wanted, because now it is their target, not the parents' target. Right? And I have students who have come back and told me, or parents said, oh, after the session, I did not have to tell them that pick up your books and study. They started doing it themselves. That's additional benefits. So confidence increase, low education and career stress because they're doing what they like or they want to do. Early career settlement, faster growth. We talked about that. The trial and error period reduces because the kid knows exactly what. Early industry readiness, we spoke about getting exposed to industry requirements, internships, talking to experts and all that. And we guide during our session, how do we do that? And most important is the happy life when we have a clarity in mind, growth, and of course, there's a happy life. That's what we all strive for. And there are more benefits. So I had a testimonial, but I'll just skip for now. The whole point is it is across. So this left side testimonial is from a kid in South Africa. And the second one is from, yeah. So that's where, really, back to you. Thank you so much for the opportunity and really great questions, very insightful questions that helped me to clarify. Back to you, Prem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hemant. I think, as you said, there were a lot of meaningful questions, but thanks to you also, you answered it very logically and in a very practical way. So I'm just taking a last round. If there are any questions or comments, I think we have covered most of it. If there are none, maybe we can conclude the session. Ashish, you want to have some closing remarks or?
Yeah, thanks, Prem. I think the way you were driving questions was very good. And thanks to Mr. Hemant Bapat for your time today. And most importantly, answering more than 1 hour. Otherwise, I have heard counselors take 15 minutes only such sessions. So it's a long, good, deep session. And I hope everyone has got most of the answers. But if anyone has more questions or want to connect with Hemant, so feel free to connect with him. There is a link shared about his profile where you can connect, and maybe you can get more deeper and specific questions or specific dialogue or discussions you can have. So thanks for your time today. I know it is 12 o'clock lunchtime in Japan, so you all skip that, and you all have showed interest. So thanks everyone, and thanks again, Hemant.
Thank you. All the best, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
very much.
Thank you all for attending also. Thank you. Bye-bye.